Namaskar. The next portion of Niyama Sadhana is called Svadhyaya. Adhyayanam in Sanskrit is to study, to read. So Svadhyaya. Sva means on your own, by yourself. So Svadhyaya means to study, to read by yourself, self-study. And this principle is extremely important in the practice of yoga. This principle helps you to set you right on the spiritual path. When we develop, there are three factors of evolution, and there are no more. Only three factors are there. I will release one video about that in the future. For now, I will say that one of those factors is the psychic clash. The clash of ideas within your mind. Let's say there is a crude idea, and that idea will always remain there in the mind. But if you try to neutralize that idea, if you try to replace that idea with a subtle idea, there will be struggle between the vibrations within the mind, and finally the mind will develop, the mind will ascend. So how to provide that intellectual clash? How to provide the clash of these ideas? Just by seeing a different life, seeing a different picture. This already creates clash. You know, when the people from, let's say, very undeveloped country, where it is accustomed to throw the garbage everywhere, they will see a well-organized system of, recycling and separating the garbage, the rubbish into the, glass and iron, and how people with very much discipline they follow this practice. There will be psychic clash. Person will think, why they do this? Nobody is paying for them. He cannot understand that we must take care for the environment. But when this clash occurs in the mind, person will think and think and think and think, and then finally he will arrive to conclusion, oh, this is a good practice. I will also like to do that. That is the expansion of the mind. You see a different example, and then there is a clash of ideas within the mind, and the mind will develop. Some people, the seeds of spirituality are sown in them by just seeing. You sit and meditate, and somebody will see you, and he will think, what is he doing? He's sitting with closed eyes. What is he doing? Is he sleeping? No, he must not be sleeping. I'm interested to find out what's going on there with him. And that is already seed, that one day he will also start doing meditation. As you think, so you become. The ideas with which we come in touch with, those ideas, they shape our personality. It does not matter the quality of the idea. What matters is the frequency, how much you are in touch with that idea. If you stay with the crude company, however elevated you are, you may be a very elevated person, you may understand everything, you may be very wise, but you constantly come in touch with the crude idea. And that idea will slowly corrupt your mind. You'll think, oh, actually can do like this, there is no harm. Everybody does like that, why not? So the mind slowly degenerates. So antidote for that poison is to come in touch constantly with the subtle ideas. And where we will get those ideas? Either we have to stay with a developed personality, we have to stay with a strong guru, strong teacher, who will constantly guide you, constantly show you the example of a different life, of a different conduct. Or if we have no access to such company, then our resort is to read the books. And special literature is called Svadhyaya. Special literature, spiritual literature, literature that comes from a bona fide spiritual master. Someone who has spiritual master in tantric tradition does not mean the one who studied well and who knows all the scriptures. No, spiritual master is the one who has attained the goal of life. he has merged his mind with the cosmic mind. So if you have such person and you are reading such books, those books will elevate your mind so much. And you can try to develop on your own. You are trying to do meditation, and meditation itself provides the clash with the higher idea, highest idea actually. You are thinking of the, of the supreme consciousness, but that idea sometimes is too high to grasp, and we have to assimilate much more wisdoms. We have to assimilate much more proper attitudes of life to bring the mind into the state which is capable of meditation. And for that we need to read spiritual books. I am basing my lectures on Dhamma and Niyama on the book which is called Guide to Human Conduct, Jivan Veda. I will put the link under this video, and please go and get acquainted yourself with this book. It is a beautiful book. I've read it, I don't know how many times, 30, 40, 50 times, I don't remember. I've translated it from English to Russian, then I have edited many times, and then recently also I wanted to edit it. I thought that some defects were there in translation. Let me edit. And when I was editing it, I was thinking deeply about it. It was such a miraculous effect. It was like I come out of mist into the clear light. I found out that I am internally have deviated from the path of the spiritual ideals. That actually some understanding in me started to become corrupt. I started to adjust spiritual understanding to the standard of today's world. And then after reading, it's just like I'm coming out of mist into the clarity. I understand, no. This is my ideal. I accept it wholeheartedly, and I must implement it in my life. You see, this is the effect. And what else can you give this to you? Nothing else can give. Only the pure most spiritual ideas. You come in touch with the pure most spiritual ideas, and you will become pure yourself. And if you come every day with the pure ideas, you will become more and more and more pure. Sometimes just open, and you had so many problems in your mind. Difficulties, complexes, crude thoughts. And you read just one page of the book, and you come with touch of those pure ideas, and they vibrate your mind with the purity. They vibrate your mind with the spirituality. And suddenly you found out that I have no problems. All the problems are gone. They have disappeared in the light of those clear ideas. Sometimes, actually, I'm so grateful that I had an opportunity to translate the books in my local language. And when translating, you really try to understand the very, very essence of what is said there. And that changes you. After translating one book properly, you can never be the same person again, because you have become that book. After you have read that book has become you. You have become that book. And you are transformed forever. So Svadhyaya means not only reading. Many spiritual traditions of the past, they got corrupted due to misunderstanding of Svadhyaya. They thought, just read. No need to understand. Read. And reading without understanding is accepting like a dogma. Believing what is said there without asking question why. There is no logic behind, there is no understanding. Just simple dogmatic following the tenets of religion. And that is the teachings which were alive, given by spiritual masters, which were life itself. They have become dead, crusty, dead and stony dogmas. They have lost all the significance. because people didn't try to make them alive. Once the truth is realized, once the truth has been understood, it has become your truth. It is a sudden mutation. Immediately you transform. Something you have understood, even a little bit you'd understood. You understood one sentence. That one sentence will forever change you. You will never be the same again. You will have become pure entity. And the secret is to constantly go and read. And read and read and read and read. And be in touch with these ideas. And try to understand. And ask million times a question, why? Don't accept it. Don't accept the Svadhyaya as the, okay, it is written and I just put it superficially in my mind. No. You should ask the question why. Why? There is one book which is called Elementary Philosophy. The name is misleading because elementary it means easy. It should have been called Fundamental Philosophy. It is not easy at all when you read. But when you read, even one chapter you read, it's like meditation. You are reading and you're trying to understand why. But why the author is saying like this? And then you concentrate your mind and you find that, oh yes, because 2 chapters ago he has proven this thesis. And now on the basis of that proven logic, he is building another logic. Wow. And then everything just connects in your mind. All my lectures are actually based on that book. A little tiny book. But after reading that, I'm feeling that I'm able to answer all the questions about spirituality. Because the questions, they're not coming from the book, but they're coming from that alive understanding. I have this understanding, I have grasped the spirit. And from that spirit, you can solve all the problems which comes from in time, place and person. So that's Svadhyaya. And then when you read Svadhyaya, when you go really dive deep into the texts, then after reading you feel like, okay, let me not do anything, let me sit and meditate. Because you thought about those cosmic things, and then now you want to know them, you read about them, you understood them intellectually, and you have felt the inner urge, the higher layers of the mind has awakened in you, and you felt the inner urge to taste them. So then you sit and meditate, and suddenly your meditation becomes very inspired. So when you're reading Svadhyaya, you are coming in touch with the consciousness of realized master. And with that contact, it's just like having Guru by your side. Guru is living with you in one room. So the same book is living with you in one room. You read that book, you come in touch with the consciousness of the Guru. You become like him. Whatever wisdom he has, you start to have also. And that evolution that you will have, normally we all are evolving if we are not misbehaving, if we are not breaking the laws of nature. But slowly we are evolving. But if you read, if you come in touch with the consciousness of the master, then the evolution that's supposed to take 100 years, we will go just in 1 month. In 1 year, we can cross. All these truths, they come as our truths, not the bookish knowledge. So that has to come, of course, together with meditation, because without meditation you cannot really understand spiritual literature. You will read spiritual literature, you will take it as a religion, you will take it as a dogma, and it will be dead. You will try to convince others, but there will be no life in that. And it is a dogma, and it is because there is no life understanding, there will be conflicts. Some person understood this, some person understood that. They understood the parts of the truth. And then they try to tell you those parts, they don't tell you, they don't come together. Because there is no understanding. without that understanding, and then they start to fight, these people. But once there is this voluminous understanding, you understand not only this much, but you understand the very spirit, the very essence, then there will be no fight. You understand there are so many angles, and from so many angles you can speak, and you can think, and you can talk, and it will almost be opposite. But understanding the spirit, you will know that all opposites, they unite in one. So that is the practice of Svadhyaya. I recommend you very much to read. At least once a day we should read even a little paragraph. That is already enough. And that will feed your soul. It just gives you inspiration. I read the books of my spiritual master Sri Sri Anandamurti. Maybe I am not objective. I love him so much. That is why I think it is really the best literature of the world, of the present day society. It is very much adjusted to the modern world, but it is bona fide spiritual. Because he was a great spiritual master. He was completely realized soul. He had such a knowledge. He has just infinite knowledge, and when you read, your mind elevates. If you read his literature, you will fall in love with his literature and with him. There is no option. It cannot happen differently. You will have fallen in love with him. And also there are other scriptures like Avadhuta Gita, Ashtavakra Gita, Bhagavad Gita. These kind of scriptures are also, and different Upanishads, different Puranas, they are also contain different tantras, Vedas. They also contain the seeds of spirituality. If you read, you become elevated man, you become elevated person. In some traditions, like they only read the books, the holy books, without doing meditation. That's the only practice. So, but for us, it is a part of our practice. But it is indispensable part of our practice. I have seen so many people fall from the path because of lack of this principle. They've never read the books. They were meditating. They enjoyed the company of spiritual people. They enjoyed singing the mantra. They enjoyed meditation. But when the time came, when the bad karma has started to surface from their mind, they could not stay in the path because they didn't have realization. They didn't have those understandings. They didn't have that wisdom that could keep them on the path. So to stay on the path, to proceed on the path, to achieve the goal, we must follow this principle of Svadhyaya. Thank you very much. Namaskar.